What's up, everybody? This is Dhane Diesil. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Billionaire Belief Show. Today's topic, we're going to dive into taming the desire for instant gratification. So without further ado, let's dive in. So earlier today, I was personally looking at an article on the Facebookers, and it was talking about, my apologies, where are my manners? We got a host today, the one and only Tyler Hunter. I don't know if he has any monikers that he goes by yet, but maybe he might eventually.
None at all.
So yeah, he goes by the government. But nevertheless, back into my story. So I was on the Facebooks earlier today, and I just saw an article. It was by the Washington Post, and it was talking about living paycheck to paycheck is disturbingly common. I see no way out. That was the headline. And so initially, of course, that captured my attention. It made me just think about some of the stuff that we talk about here in Billionaire Belief and what we post on Instagram. But a little bit deeper than that, it also just made me just think about, how specifically the part about no way out, how people say they see no way out, like that part of it really kind of brings a little bit of a perspective to me and makes me feel a little unpleasant, only because I do know that there is a way out. It's just a matter of an individual making a commitment, but being flexible with their approach to accomplishing that commitment, which I personally believe is part of the ambivalence that most people have, or kind of mixed feeling, I should say, towards getting their finances on point and getting their financial house in order. But with that being said, like I said, of course, I have to leave a little comment, and people just took it the wrong way. They took it as a shameless plug when it was just really me just kind of venting and really stating something that I personally believe in. And we are real big on speaking our dreams into existence. And one of my personal dreams, as you all will hear about, is to help people break their family cycle of poverty. To help them stop having to live paycheck to paycheck, and the way out is going to be through getting our finances on point. And by getting your finances on point, what I specifically mean is just helping you understand what it takes to increase your income, helping you understand what it takes to build up your savings, and helping you understand what it takes to get your credit scores on point. So that's really what it's all about, helping you raise those scores, increase your earnings, and have some stacks in the bank, as y'all like to say. We all like stacks, right?
Of course.
Stacks in the bank. But with that being said, like I said, we'll kind of dive in more so into a little bit of just deeper thoughts about this. But actually, Mr. Hunter, have you had any experiences or any relevant stories about the topic?
Of course, always. I made a post today where it just talked about how two people put $1,000. One person chooses to spend that to go on a trip. Other person chooses to spend that money to invest and double their profit. And how one person posts a bunch of pictures on Instagram and it makes it look like they're winning, whereas the other person, they have nothing obviously to post about that, and they're the one that's actually on the path to winning. And one of my followers took it to heart and basically stated that some people don't value money the way other people do. They value experience and time. And it just kind of made me think. I was like, well, I could really get into this because, some people would take that as me, coming down hard on an individual, where it's like, no, you can't tell me that you would value having the money, the time, the experience now versus being able to take that experience down the road and actually enjoy it. Whereas you're going for a week, per se, today. Now you got to come back to reality and go back to the grind, when this other individual took that same money and invested it, and 6 months, 8 months, a year down the line, they can go take that same trip and be going for 3 weeks and not miss a beat because they took the time out to set themselves up with more and more streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was kind of taken aback by it. And like I said, I thought about going in, but it was like, I'm not really, not today. I'm not in the mood. You caught me on a good day.
So the thing that blows my mind about people who have that argument about, well, people have different values for money. Some people value experience. It's like, well, no matter what experience you want to experience, what's it going to take?
It takes money to get it.
To experience.
And that was the first point that popped into my head. Well, how did you pay for the trip? With the money. So you needed the money to do it. So why not make that money now and invest it so that you can do more with it later versus I'm going on this instant gratification of this trip today versus the delayed gratification of this trip tomorrow.
And I'll be the first to admit I do still have problems with, instant gratification, but at the end of the day,
everybody has problems with instant gratification.
And that is true. But at the end of the day, I believe because I am conscious of it, that is why I do take steps to make sure that I do save, that I do make sure I pay my bills on time, that I do, so that because personally, like I said, by getting your finances on point and having your finances on order, what I'm starting to notice is whenever you start talking like that, people just automatically just in a sense try to virtually assault you, because my theory is that they know that they need to get themselves together, but there's like anything else in life that we think is going to require a lot of effort and time. It's kind of like we'll just keep kicking this can down the road. So it's easier for people to just talk about, I'd rather live paycheck to paycheck, or I'd rather complain about living paycheck to paycheck than to actually
do something.
Sit down, put a plan together, write it down on a piece of paper, and then execute. Like it's really that simple. Vision, blueprint, execution. It is really that simple. And it took me well over 20 years to figure out how simple it was, but I eventually figured it out, and now I know that I'm headed down a more productive path financially because I'm hitting those markers. My income is increasing. My savings account is rising. My credit scores are rising, and because those things are happening, I attribute that 100% to me making a decision one day and get as Les Brown would say, I got sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
Being sick and tired.
Being sick and tired. So I was just like, I need to get myself together. So for roughly, I would just say about a good 2 years, I kind of, stuck my nose down and got to work. And I can say that, for example, in the credit department, before I decided to get my finances on point and get myself together, I vividly remember being like in the low 600s, high 500s, but I started making some moves, what I'm saying, to make sure my credit was, making sure my bills was paid, making sure that I start opening lines of credit just so I can pay stuff down, just so I can start building credit and show more of a credit history, and then boom, eventually, I got some medical bills too. Some dental work I had. You listening to at least a $10,000 mouthpiece right now. So well over 10 grand. So it was just like but I paid those things off. I was conscious. I was living my value at the end of the day, and that's something too that I feel that there's truth in what the young lady said though. Is that
that's her value.
And it's okay for her value to be experienced. And this is what my message to the world is. It's like it's okay to value what you value, to do what you want to do, but you just have to understand if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, then you gotta stand underneath it in a sense. You gotta stick by it. You gotta stick with the decision. You can't run away or try to blame somebody when it doesn't work out the way you expected it to. And that's the part of life that frustrates me and bothers me mostly about people, is that, I understand, what it takes to have a goal or to have a desire, turn into a goal, plan it out, and then execute over, an extended period of time. So I do realize that because of that specific experience that, there are certain things that I might just be able to do a little bit better than somebody who hasn't done that. But overall, I do also know that if you want something bad enough, you're going to be willing to do what it takes.
A lot of people are perfectly capable of that because they'll make the decision, like the young lady, to take a vacation. And then they'll buckle down for the 6 months leading up to that vacation. True. And put money away and forego nights out on the town, forego dinners at a restaurant, and cook at home, maybe buy a bottle and drink at home versus having drinks out with their friends. So they're capable of doing it, but again, it's about the instant gratification of I'm going on this trip in a couple of months versus the long term. I'll be in a position where I won't feel like I need to take a vacation from life because my life will be set up the way I can generate whatever I want financially and not have to be out working, busting my ass. Oh, excuse me, sorry about the language.
I mean, you can curse. Let's just not curse like sailors. Like, of course, you know. Well, the stats say we're talking to, you know, men who grow up in urban environments. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure they curse words are part of the vernacular. But you know, with my intent was mostly so that, you know, I don't want it to be to where, you know, we just cursing like sailors all the time where you can't listen to this with your grandma in the car. You feel me? Because grandma needs the game too. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, mom needs the game too. And this is one of the things. Like, yeah, I definitely do steer this towards, you know, an urban male. But at the end of the day,
grandma,
you know, everybody else listening,
baby
too.
sister,
yeah, baby sister,
brother,
baby
all
cousin.
of them need
you know,
that.
we want them to get the game as well. And so, to your point though, yeah, I actually do have to agree with that. That yeah, people they can buckle down when they want to. So, and that's another part that makes me frustrated with certain people who and this is like I feel frustrated when people are complaining about not having something or not being able to do something.
To change what's led to that.
Exactly. And that's what my frustration is. Like, I love people. Like, I'm a people person, but I'll be lying to you if I told you that people who complain about not having something or not being able to do something, but they themselves aren't willing to change their, and it really comes down to changing your mind. And they rather just complain about it. It's just like, no, get out of here. I'm going to give you shit at the end of the day.
Let's have a pity party.
Right.
Versus let's sit down and hash this out and come up with some solutions.
Right. So, all in all, man, it's just like, I understand what it means to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm pretty sure you do too. And an extent, there's moments in my life, even to this day, where I kind of purposely, you know, do that, not because I don't have the cash, but mostly just because I kind of have to
keep that training going. It's
yeah,
like a muscle.
Right, exactly. Keep the training going, and I'm glad you even said that, because that's all it really is. It's like we have to start, you know, really working out our buckle down muscle, as you kind of just talked about. But you know, that same, you know, mental fortitude that we direct towards in 6 months. You know, I want to go on this 2-week vacation to the Bahamas, so let me, you know, like I said, buckle down and really watch my money so I can save for this.
To just over time, like the whole lifestyle. Like I need to instead of budgeting for the 6 months, I need to make that budget in my lifestyle change.
Right. And that's because
living
that's
within
what's
your
going
means.
to change. Right. That's what's going to change your situation. And it always blows my mind too, whenever I do start talking about financial education. And people are like, oh, you know, how can somebody, or they just assume, well, how can somebody making $10 an hour tell me how to get rich? And it's like, it always blows my mind, because it goes back to a couple of points.
At some point, that rich person was making the same moves I'm making.
Well, that's one. That is actually part one.
Unless you were granted a few million at birth,
right?
At some point, they were poor and figured out a way to not be poor.
And that's what.
So why can't I?
And that's literally my mindset, bro. Like, that's literally what you just articulated in those exact words. That is literally the mentality that I have taken to my life in regards to the world of money and finances and building wealth. Like, I know that it is a documented fact that there are people in this world who were brought up in poverty, and they figured out how not to be in poverty anymore. Period. Like, that's it. And so that's why I know a lot of people will say that, you know, I come off to them as being, you know, abrasive, aggressive, or harsh. But the reality of the situation is
life is abrasive and harsh.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, to keep it G with you, it's like, those are never my intentions. I'm always like, if I just never have met you and I'm just talking to you, like 9 times out of 10, I'm just coming literally from a place of love and from a place of love for this game called life and trying to win it. And I'm just really just trying, based upon maybe something that you've probably said, I'm just sharing, like I said, I'm just trying to give you the game, just giving you the basics. But I now I'm starting to realize, bro, that that's making people feel, you know, intimidated and uncomfortable, and they saying I'm being abrasive and aggressive toward them. But, you know, as Marcus, like my man Marcus Aurelius says, you know, if a man despises me, that's not my problem. So, like, and it's not, and it's just like, it's nothing personal. But what people fail to understand in those moments is that I'm not seeking their approval. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to appease them. So I'm not gonna.
I like that. I'm not seeking your approval.
And it's just like, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I'm not seeking your approval. I don't care to appease you, because I'm not trying. That's not my mission, to appease you. My mission is to help people break their family cycle of poverty. So that's what I'm. So whenever I hear stuff or read stuff about it, of course I'm going to comment. I'm going to share. You know, because you're obviously not saying. Well, I take that back. I was about to say you're obviously not saying it because it's a problem, but as we've kind of already, both come to the somewhat of an agreement, a lot of people just like the pity party. So they just like saying it just to like you said, oh, misery loves company, as they would say.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, though, the big takeaway, I want for you guys listening is just to understand that, like Mr. Hunter said, there are people who were born into poverty, and at some point in their life,
through sheer force of will,
through sheer force of will, they figured out how not to be in poverty anymore. And that's literally it. Period. And another key takeaway I want from you guys is to understand that point that Mr. Hunter brought up about value. Like you said, the young lady, she values experience with people. And it's like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. I value experience with people, but to me personally, my desire and value for wealth does trump my desire to create experiences. So what that ultimately means for me is that if it's a situation where I'm basically gonna think, well, if I make this decision financially, it's gonna really put me in the debt in the red zone, then it's just like, no, I'm not gonna make it. I'm just gonna have to hold off until later.
Right.
It is what it is. But if not, then yeah, go enjoy yourself, have fun. What's his name? I think his name is Ramit Sethi. He's a gentleman. He's a best-selling author. He wrote a book that I bought a couple of years ago called "I Will Teach You How to Be Rich," and he talks about the concept of frugality. And what he basically said was that to him, obviously, you got to keep your finances on. It's like you got to get and keep your finances on point. And I think, Tyler, like that's a part of the money game people don't understand as well. It's kind of like
they get ahead, and then we just kind of, I've done it before too. So let me not say they get ahead, and it's just like, okay, cool, we got where we want to be. Now let's go out and party. Why?
Yeah.
What are you celebrating?
Yeah.
You're celebrating the fact that you're no longer broke, but you're going to do that by breaking yourself.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
I used to see that every night. Bottle service.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
$300-$400 bottles for nothing, and it's like, what are you celebrating? Oh, just life. Okay, so what's going on tomorrow? Like, oh man, I gotta go back to work. Like, so wait, what?
Right. It's just not making sense, people. And I will say it again for all those petty ones out there. Yes, have fun. I'm not saying don't have fun, but what I am saying is have fun within the boundaries of your goals. So
that you set.
Right. And that's the thing, bro.
You gotta set it, and then you gotta maintain it. Like, we're not telling you this is how much of your bread to spend. We're not telling you that. We would never I would never presume to tell you that. I'm sure
right.
Mr. Diesel would never presume to tell you that.
Can't never tell you how
That's
to count your money, man. Right.
At the end of the day, I hate when I see posts where people comment about what millionaires are doing with their bread. Like, oh, they could be doing this. They could be, but it's their bread.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day. So do what you feel with your bread. However, if you are listening to this, that tells us that you are tired of going paycheck to paycheck.
Right. And it's a work in progress,
and you need to set your boundaries and then live within your boundaries.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's the part of financial education that I think is the ultimate beauty of it, which is why I feel it is one thing where you can legitimately hold a person accountable to it, is because, like I said, these are goals that you're setting for yourself. These are boundaries that you're creating for yourself. Like, I'm not ever going to tell somebody what they should be doing. What I will always do is share what I am doing. Mm-hmm. And suggest it to a person if they're communicating to me that they're having a problem. If I feel I have a solution that can solve their problem, I'm going to share it with them. But I'm never going to tell somebody, like, here's what you got to do. This is the only way to do it.
If you're not doing this, then don't talk to me. But then again, if you're going to take my advice and hear it and listen to it, that you sought out, don't then turn around and tell me how when you stepped away from that advice, things didn't work. And what was that advice again? Like, that's repetitive. It's annoying. It doesn't need to happen.
So you got to put the work in at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. And it's really as simple as committing to breaking your family cycle of poverty, and then putting the work in to the first level, obviously, you got to get your finances on point. So, like, once again, make sure you increasing your earnings, increasing your income, making sure you're building up your savings account, making sure you're getting rid of any and all bad debt that you have. We'll have a show about debt later. And last but not least, making sure that you are you're making sure you're paying your bills on time, and so that your your credit scores can rise, your FICO scores can rise. And like I said, I'll be the first to admit, bro, I'm a work in progress. You feel me? But I do believe that I have made some achievements in this world of money that allow me to be able to sit in this seat right now and share my experience with somebody who needs to hear it, because I know that there's somebody out there right now who was a college graduate thrown into the real world without necessarily having any sense of direction as to, you know, how to get to the top, how to make it to the top,
And
having a
6
desire.
months before Sally Mae came knocking.
Right, 6 months before she's knocking, and like you said, you getting like you owe us $500 a month, and I don't even have a job yet. Don't even know how to where I'm gonna be working at, and so like I understand like the depression that one can fall into. You know, I understand the feeling of shame and guilt you might have when you start thinking about the person you thought that you were supposed to be after college, but you didn't achieve that. And so I understand that journey, ultimately through hell that you got to go through. I understand the depression. I understand the grief. You know, I understand all that. That's why I'm choosing to use my voice to share my message, to let people know that there is a way out. You just have to make a decision, stay committed to it, but be flexible in your approach. And I think personally, bro, a lot of people don't understand that about life too. It's like they think that you have to do it this one way. So for example, if I can like make a visual representation, it's kind of like it's like if you're in Los Angeles and you're talking to an old person and you're saying like, hey, I want to get from I need to get from Los Angeles to New York, and they give you a road map from 1940 and say, hey, here's a map for you to get from Los Angeles to New York, and you're just like, nah, I'm good. Like I got a smartphone. I'm just a GPS, and they're just like, nah, like I've driven from Los Angeles to New York before. Here's the map that I use. This is a map that's going to get you from Los Angeles to New York. Take this map. This way will get you there. Believe me, I've done it. And it's just like, yeah, I understand that, but this map is from 1940. A lot has changed. This is 2019 now. Like a lot has changed in all those years. So. And I have a map. I'm just saying where I need to go, and they're just like, no, bro, you need to take my route, and you're just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with your route. I just know that there is a better route, and I'm going to take that. And I think that's what makes people mad.
I think that's what makes them believe that their way is the only way.
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes them mad and what makes them attack, and feel that they need to attack because, like you said, you're kind of like disrupting their worldview.
Well, that also ties into people not being able to understand that a difference of opinion is not me attacking you personally. It's just me not agreeing with your opinion or your position, and it doesn't have to become a war as a result of that.
Right. And it doesn't have to be, man. But all in all, like you said, to bring it back, to tie this bow up, this little present, this gift we have, like you said, and when it comes to immediate gratification, and like you said, based on that post, it being wealthy is a state of mind, as I've learned, and it's based on a sense of value. So when you value wealth, there's actions that you have to take in your life that symbolize that value, and that goes with everything in life. But right now we're talking about money. So if you value wealth, then you need to take the steps that you need to take to make sure that your activities are symbolizing that value. Mm-hmm. And like I said, when it comes to the immediate gratification, yes, we all have it. You know, we all have a what Ed Milet describes as a stretch goal. You know, something that that's going to require us to stretch over a long period of time to achieve, compared to a momentum goal, something that we can relatively achieve in the short term. you know,
and
we
use the momentum goals to build
right,
up to the stretch
right.
goals because it just makes you feel better about boom, 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 boom.
And see, that's one of the reasons why I like you, because you can just understand that. Like, I don't have to just break it down to you like a 2-year-old. Not to say there's anything wrong, and I'm willing to put the work in, but it's just a lot easier at times when people just get it. But ultimately, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just having your goals, staying focused, and like you said, when you're faced with the temptation of me, for example, oh, there's a new pair of Jordans that came out. Like, oh my gosh, like I want those. But it's like, all right, Dhane, you've been going kind of hard to paint this month. You know, you already bought a pair earlier this month. Now you're trying to drop another 200 on some more Jordans. Like, come on, bro, calm down. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes I can't even still buy it. Like, oh, I just put it on my credit card and just pay it off later. I just put it in a couple more hours, or I just make a couple of more extra sales, and just pay it off. Which is a problem to me personally, bro. Like, I feel that's a problem.
Like your willingness to add that extra like debt to yourself when you could have still put in that extra time and then did something more valuable with that bread.
And it's I 100% know that $200 could have went to something 10 times more productive than a pair of sneakers. But like you said, I just that's my kryptonite.
That
like,
pair of sneakers was just calling me.
Yeah, like literally, it's just like I'm looking at my phone because I thought it went off, and it's like nothing happened. But then when I open my phone, it's an email. Oh, the new J's just released.
See, that's your problem right there, man. You get them J's emailed every week.
That is the problem. But you know what I'm saying? That's one of my vices at the end of the day. But because I know that that's a vice of mine, I do make sure I take proper steps to make sure I save first, in a sense.
And that's all we need to do. Is if you want something, get it, but get it within a reasonable situation.
So we will end on that note pretty much right there, ladies and gentlemen. Save first. No matter what you go do, just save first. This is a recommendation. Neither one of us have any sort of certification to be financial certified financial planners, tax accountants, CPA, certified public, and then that's neither one of our only experience is personal. In the schools, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, in the schools that are hard not. That's our only experience. That's our credibility. We're living it. You feel me? And we're, like you said, we're taking our experiences and challenges and making it do what it do. So, like, for example, one of my goals this year is to pay off the current, you know, credit balance that I do have, which is roughly around like $3,000. I want to have it done, I think, by May. I think that's when I said I want to have it done. And I'm gonna have it done. And here's the kicker: if May comes around and I don't have it done, let's just say the goal was to pay off $3,200, but I only managed to pay $1,500. Now I'm gonna take my win. I did still cut in the $1,500 of it, but then I have to look back and say, okay, well, what was the reason why? Yeah, what can I do differently? Like, why didn't I achieve this goal? So, okay, well, I see, in this month, actually in February, you know, my transmission went out, or I had to replace all the tires on my car, or, you know what I'm saying, the stove went out. Something happened, so I had to, you know, spend my, okay, that's understandable. But now I still need to accomplish that goal, so now I got an extra goal moving for the rest of the year. But it's simple, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to be willing to put the work in. So on that note, like you said, save first. That's your major takeaway today. Another way people say it is pay yourself first. But all in all, yeah, we go make sure we get you right, get your finances on point, make sure, you know, help you understand what it's gonna take to increase your income, raise your credit scores, and build up your savings account. So any last words?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, look, yeah, I'm gonna have Mr. Hunter on a couple more of whenever he's available, whenever he makes himself available to us, Billionaire Belief family. We'll just have Mr. Hunter on to give us some perspective and commentary. But, you know, like I said, we're here to help you. I love you. I'm looking forward to meeting you, and let me know what you need help so we can help you become a winner. As always, make sure you follow us on Instagram at BBWCN. When you get there, don't forget to grab your free gift. It's a financial education study guide for you And be on the lookout in your inbox for some other good treats I got lined up for you this year. As always, make it a great day. Peace.